You might say to yourself, I've been trying very hard, I don't seem to be getting anywhere, or this doesn't seem to be working. Is that evidence that your objectives are impossible? And let's think about it for a second. Is the fact that what you're doing ain't working evidence that your objectives are impossible? Well, that is something that's referred to as a logical fallacy. Do you remember what a logical fallacy is? They're kind of fascinating. A logical fallacy is erroneously interpreting information as being proof, certain proof, of something that it is not proof of at all. And I can give you a real life example. You hear it all the time. More women than men have borderline personality disorder. That old favorite lie or misinformation of the professional community. They themselves, the professional community, say it all the time. They say evidence has proven that more women than men have borderline personality disorder. Is that true? No, it's not true. This is just an example of a logical fallacy. How do they arrive at the conclusion that more women than men suffer from borderline personality disorder? The way they arrive at that conclusion is that more women are documented as showing the symptoms. So surely that proves, doesn't it, that more women than men have borderline personality disorder. It doesn't when you realize that more women than men naturally and voluntarily go to therapists. So you understand that a man can't be included in a statistic. Men, I should say, can't be included in a statistic that they refuse to participate in or they refuse to voluntarily share things about. So the only thing that statistically more women report symptoms of borderline personality disorder than men, the only thing that is definite evidence of is that more women are talking to people about it than men are. But as far as borderline personality disorder being a female's disorder, that's absolute bunk. Absolute bunk. Now let's talk about your efforts not working. I want to tell you this, that if something you're doing isn't working, so let's say something you're doing in regards to your emotional health, recovery, any of these things, if it ain't working, and you say in your brain that this is evidence that your objectives are all a big waste of time, I would like to remind you that that's not evidence of that at all. If something you're doing isn't working, the only thing that this is evidence of is that you're going about it the wrong way. Do you see the logical fallacy? If something you're doing ain't working, the only thing this is evidence of for sure is that adjustments in thinking and approach are necessary. That's the only thing that is evidence of. I know that your objectives are not a waste of time because I was once the lost cause. I made it almost to age 40 with living with borderline personality disorder, unaware that I had it. Nobody resisted recovery more than I did. Nobody has. In 5 years that I've been talking to people about this subject, and I've talked to lots of people, I have yet to meet somebody who was in more difficult circumstances than I was in, and who was more resistant and difficult as far as voluntarily going into the process and trying to get better. I have not met a harder case than me. And yet here I am on the other side. This is often why when I'm talking to folks and they're tempted to say, well, the person's just a lost cause, I say, be careful there. Be careful with that sort of thinking, because I was once the lost cause. You don't know. None of us know what the future will bring, what things will happen in a person's life to make them reevaluate their sincerity in their approach to these sorts of things.